So when I was 22, I started in restaurant management, and that was a unique challenge. Anyone who's worked in restaurants knows that it's chaotic, it's busy, you gotta make fast decisions. There's a lot of things that are moving at the same time, as well as my experience was I got the privilege of leading a diverse team. You know, there was a lot of different age ranges, even backgrounds and ethnicities, languages, and I was young. I was 22 when I started managing. And so being able to be the kind of person that could help inspire my team, you know, it's like, okay, I don't want to be a micromanager. I don't want to tell them all what to do. I'm 22. Some of these people were like decades older than me. They've got way more experience, probably way more wisdom than I do. And yet I am the manager. So how do we navigate some of those dynamics? One of the best things that happened to me was early on when I first moved to the US. I got started with a small group connected through church, and we were talking about giftings and skill sets. And it was one of the first times I was on leadership with that group, and and we started talking about, okay, let's look at what are the gift sets and skill sets that each person on the leadership has, and how could we facilitate a space and an environment where each person could function very strongly and freely in the gift sets they have, and we could cover each other's backs for the areas that you're not as strong in. And so in that environment, I discovered that things like hospitality, leadership, communication were some of my strong suits. But then there were some other areas that I was not good at. I had some significant weaknesses that were identified as well. But then what we found out was that there were other people on our team that had strengths in those areas that I was weak on. And so what was amazing was that we started to be able to facilitate the space where we could actually function in our strengths and cover for each other in some ways. Now, we had some areas that were just missing in general, and we just had to pick up the slack on those things. But what I picked up from that experience was it was so freeing to have permission to be good at the things I was good at, and have permission to not be good at the things I wasn't good at, and have somebody else be able to fill those areas because it was actually their skill set. And so how that has related to me professionally in both, when I was running restaurants, now in the business that I run, I'm always looking to work with people. I love working with people that have the same skill sets as me, because sometimes we can talk the same language, and that's incredible. But I'm always looking for people that actually have skill sets that are unique or different from me, because I recognize that I've got only so much going on, right? As far as my skill sets and the experiences that I have, the knowledge I have, the perspective, the mindset, it's limited. And someone else may have things that are really important. They may have skill sets, perspective, mindset, academic knowledge, connections that are very important to the initiative or the project or the company that we're trying to build or grow. And so I'm always looking for, okay, how could I encourage and attract the people that have skill sets that are different than mine? And how could I value, appreciate, acknowledge, and empower them to function in those gift sets, even though they're not mine? I don't even think like that, And so when I've led teams, what I've found is that if you think about the different skill sets, and you can create an environment where you authentically value and appreciate different skill sets, different strengths, giftings and perspectives, all of a sudden people that have those different skill sets and perspectives will start to be able to come around you and have a safe place to be able to contribute their value in that organization. And so it has been a phenomenal and amazing thing to be able to work pretty much most of my leadership career in spaces where I'm working with people that have a very diverse skill set. And to be honest, one of the things that makes me so excited is even in my own company currently, most of the people on my team are older than me, smarter than me, more experienced than me. Like, it is incredible. We have attracted some of the top talent in the nation, and we get to work together to create something that's absolutely phenomenal. And so I want to encourage you, if you're a leader and you're looking around at your team and they all look like you, or they all function like you, or they're all thinking like you, or they all talk like you, consider that there might be skill sets, experiences, perspectives that are not on your team that might be critical to the growth and expansion or the accomplishment of whatever you're trying to do. And you can't just make it up. You can't be insincere and just be like, oh, I really want to value, let's say that you're a ambitious go-getter and you talk fast, you move fast, you make decisions, and you're like, man, I'd really love to have some detail-oriented, softer spoken, deep thinkers on my team. Well, you can't just like magically or just like say the words and be like, oh, I just all of a sudden value these types of people. You have to do the internal work to authentically value the gift sets and the skill sets that they'll bring. But if you do the deep work to value the skill sets that are different than yours, and you start talking about it and you start interacting with people, and next time you meet someone that, maybe is a deeper thinker, talks more quietly, is very consistent, is super loyal, is very detail oriented, and you're like, oh my gosh, that is such an important skill set. I've actually been just thinking about how much value people with your skill sets bring to an organization or a team. Chances are you're going to start getting into environments where you can create teams of people that have a mix and a variety of skill sets, and it will allow you to fill out some of the needs and things that are just not happening right now. And so the other thing I'd say too is that it's really easy as a leader to get intimidated. It's easy to get intimidated because when we think about and we look at our team and we're like, oh my gosh, they're smarter than me, they're better than me, they're way more skilled than me, they're more experienced than me, they're older than me, whatever it might be. And you look around and you're like, wow, I don't know if I could lead this team. Like, why would they respect me as a leader? The best thing that you can do as a leader is you don't have to be beating everybody. You don't have to be the best on your team. The best thing that you can do for your team, for your organization, for your leadership is that you can be someone who values and creates space for people of different skill sets than yourself, as well as probably the people that have similar skill sets as yourself, where they can function and contribute their strengths into the organization. They can feel valued, seen, heard, and they have a place and a role that they can actually contribute. And if you can be the type of leader that can facilitate that, you don't have to be intimidated if everybody's better than you. And you don't have to try to only bring people into your team or into your sphere of influence that are not better than you, right? Because if you start becoming the kind of leader that can attract and lead people that are better than you or more skilled or more experienced than you, man, just imagine how far your team could go. Just imagine how far your projects could go. Imagine where your company could go. It is incredible when that door opens up and you no longer need to be the leader that needs to be the best at everything or at the top or super impressive about everything. Now, that being said, everybody hates being on a team where the leader is doing nothing, right? Or they're just like, they're not walking the walk, they're not talking the talk, they're saying words and they're just, kind of trying to make everybody like, that's manipulation, right? Everybody can kind of see that, smell it. They know the difference between someone who's authentic and working and functioning in their strengths versus someone who's just like, okay, cool, I'm going to take these tools and I'm going to make everyone feel great and they're all going to do the work for me and I'm just going to sit back and, and it's all going to be great. Like, you want to be in the game with your team as well, right? And that's part of creating environments where people can thrive, gift sets and skill sets can be plugged into places where we can be able to really grow together. And so my encouragement to you would be identify what strengths do you have? How can you be able to function in those well for the support and benefit of the people that are around you? And then identify and attract the people who have different skill sets to you that will help fill in the total picture, and then start working together and just see where you can go. And it's pretty incredible.